My good friend, the ranking member, for any questions you may have for the panel.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and let me welcome the panel. Finally, a panel that includes people who were in charge around here. Dr. Burgess just went through wistfully all the things that used to be and things that he wished were in place today. You all have as well, but I'll remind you, you're in charge. I mean, you can't blame Nancy Pelosi for this. You can't blame Joe Biden for this. The Republicans control the House of Representatives. You can have as many open or closed rules as you want. I mean, not only has the appropriations process been a complete mess, but the process in general has. I mean, and this is not a slight to my friend, Mr. Cole, because I know he is on the side of more openness, but there have been 37 completely closed rules this year. That's more closed rules to date than the previous two Congresses. On amendments, this Congress, 73% of amendments have been blocked. Over 61% of Republican amendments have been blocked. And so, I point that out. But what I'm trying to figure out here is like where we are and where are we going. So these appropriation bills are being brought up one by one, which I think is the way they should be brought up. But there are still a couple of, I think it's 2 appropriation bills that haven't been reported out of committee yet, okay? So we're not going to get to all 12, no matter how fast we move next week. And if you were here earlier, I mean, obviously, there is disagreement with the White House on the substance of some of these bills. There's disagreement with Senate Democrats on some of these bills. There's disagreement with Senate Republicans on some of these bills. So there is going to have to be this kind of give and take. And I don't think under any scenario do we pass 12 appropriation bills next week. The Senate does the same. We reconcile the differences, and we have our product. The government shuts down a week from tomorrow if we don't do anything. And we've had a couple of attempts at a continuing resolution that have been brought before the Rules Committee. Continuing resolutions that in my opinion, don't reflect my values. I couldn't vote for them because of the deep cuts, but nonetheless, they were brought up here, and then they were pulled. So I'm just trying to figure out, given the realities that we're dealing with and the moment of time we're in, are all of you going to vote for a continuing resolution?
Tell you, yeah. If you don't mind yielding.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. McGovern, I'm not going to vote for a continuing resolution. We got to break the fever. We got to kick the habit. The reality we face is a $33 trillion debt that both parties have contributed to, that neither party has developed a process to constrain since the mid-90s. But I would point to the fact that in the mid-90s, when we had divided government, when we had a President Clinton and Speaker Gingrich, we were able to go through this process. And I would observe that even if we had to endure a small shutdown, a week, that the work that we could do to get these individual bills out and negotiated in divided government would be worth it. And I don't favor a shutdown. I want to move as fast as possible. We may even have bipartisan agreement to move faster than we have in the past. There's no question that you're right, that there is no one that we can blame the lack of the production of these bills on but ourselves. And I own that as a Republican, but as I think Mr. Cole correctly observed, we've been following a bipartisan tradition. And I think that this system, that this rule that the committee, I hope passes, and I hope the House passes, gets us back on a track where we negotiate these things in the way that Mr. Burgess reflected on, not negotiating what feature of a continuing resolution is or is not going to be part of that calculus.
No, and I